Hi friends, how you doing? Did you enjoy Sabbath today? I hope you took me up on my challenge. It's just such a relief to have this one full day to just rest in Jesus and spend time with Him. Today I took a nap accidentally. That's not the kind of rest we're supposed to do, but nevertheless, I did. But I wanted to start on my testimony. I've been talking about that. I've been talking about doing a video about it, and I feel impressed to do that. So I'm going to try it. We'll see what happens. And I wanted to first give one of my favorite verses in the Bible that applies to me and my journey, which is Philippians 1:6. And it says, being confident of this very thing, that he who hath begun a good work in you will continue it until the day of our Lord Jesus Christ. That day is when Jesus comes to take us home. Because this world, it's not my home. We're intended to be with Him. He wants us to be with Him, and I want to be with Him. So, my life probably isn't any more complicated or strange maybe than many people. I'm adopted. I was adopted when I was 3 days old. This is what I'm told. My birth mother got pregnant out of wedlock. She had been married, and as far as I know, she had had other children, and she got pregnant with me. And her dad was military, and he didn't want the stigma of a baby out of wedlock from within his family, so she needed to find another family for me. So God provided that. I don't know if He was answering her prayers or my adopted mom's prayers looking for a baby to adopt, or my prayers, which weren't even really spoken yet, or all three. He knows all, so it's probably all three. But so we were poor. There was my mom, the person she was married to, and my brother and I. He also was adopted, but from a different family. He isn't my blood brother. He's still with us, so to speak, but he lives far away. But I feel like he's my brother. But it's weird, being adopted. I don't know if it's being adopted or just the case of understanding that this place isn't our home. I've just never really felt comfortable anywhere. Never felt like I belonged. So I don't know if other people that watch this that are adopted feel that way. I'd be interested to know. But my mom did the best she could. The person she was married to took off when I was 8. And my brother was 12. And she didn't do well with that. So I grew up pretty early, figuring out how to take care of myself and such. But she did the best she could. And I went to Christian schools all my life. So it was a pretty regulated upbringing, I would say. We didn't really congregate or have friends outside of the church, pretty much. The friends we had in school were also the same church that we went to, and there wasn't a lot of doing things outside of that circle. Of course, now I understand and appreciate that, but I did not when I was a kid. It wasn't horrible, but and I now, as I said, have a much deeper understanding and appreciation for that. I'm glad that I was brought up that way, and I went to Christian schools. My mother was a school nurse, and she worked in the public school system. And when I was not behaving, which wasn't often, I tried to really toe the line, because she didn't cope well when she got divorced. But she used to tell me, if you don't straighten up, I'm going to put you in public school. And she would tell me stories about the kids that would come into the health room. These girls would get in cat fights and guy fights in the hall. It was insane. To my limited worldview, I was like, what? I don't want to. How do these people? She would tell me that the girls would put Vaseline on their face so that when they got scratched by another girl, that it would slide off. I just couldn't comprehend that, really. Anyway, that never happened because I wasn't that bad. So I went to church school all my life, and 11th and 12th grade was boarding school. So that was my first experience being away from home. I had worked since I was in 5th grade. Literally, I was a school custodian, janitor, cleaning the boys' bathroom, cleaning the halls, that kind of thing. Because Christian school is expensive, and as I said, we didn't have that kind of money. So I worked my way through school all my life, and that was fine. I'm glad. I wouldn't have. I'm glad for that experience. I'm thankful for it. So when I got to boarding school, again, Christian, and they took attendance at morning worship and church and everything. And I had a religion class in every grade going through school. I'm glad for that as well. I ended up forgetting a lot of it in my middle part of life when I walked away from the church. But anyway, so boarding school was fascinating to me because the rules were they don't have rules like that nowadays. It's on the weekends the girls would get one side and the boys would get another side. It was a school in the country, so the girls could either go to the woods and hike and stuff, and the boys would get the valley, or vice versa. They didn't want us commingling together, which is probably smart, but nowadays that wouldn't work because everybody's lost their mind and has gone insane on who's a boy and who's a girl. It's nuts. I'm so glad I turned off my TV years ago. If you still have that thing plugged in, unplug it. It's not doing you any favors. Anyway, I had 2 jobs during my junior and senior year. I worked as a sort of administrative capacity for several of the teachers and grading papers and such for underclassmen, and then I built furniture, which I loved that job because it was off campus. We had to get in a bus and go to the furniture mill. So that was my first experience of real, you're in a furniture mill, you're not on campus, and you're not under that thumb necessarily. So that was pretty eye-opening. And then I went to college. I went to study architecture. The college was in Michigan. Not a lot going on in Michigan back then anyway. I don't know what's going on there now. Probably the same. But that was a terrible experience for me because I had been inching my way away from the church and God and everything. And that was a terrible experience for me. I hadn't been prepared to be in the world. My circle was very small, and I was a wreck. And I found alcohol. That was a huge problem. God saved me through that, though. I didn't stay in college long because, well, if you're drinking alcohol, it's kind of tough to keep your grades up. So I left the first year. I stayed for 2 trimesters, and I left and came to Washington, D.C. to get a job. And I don't know what I was thinking. I grew up in Pennsylvania, then went to a teeny boarding school, then went to another backwoods area in Michigan and went to a college. And then I so didn't have my public sea legs yet. And then I go to DC. Terrible idea. Nevertheless, that's what I did. And several people that I was friends with in college left the same time I did because they got in the same type of problems that I got into. And we were just, we weren't college material, you could say. So, ended up getting a few of us got together and lived in a house for a while. And then I got married to one of them when I was 19. Bad idea. He was fine, whatever, but no one's ready to get married at 19. I mean, what can you possibly know about life to get married at 19? Terrible idea. People tried to tell me it's a bad idea. I didn't want to listen to them. I thought I knew everything. I was going to show them, right? How they were all wrong and I was right. The day it was horrible. I had a fever of 102. I had strep throat. You would have thought that would have been a sign that would have woke up Helen Keller, but no. I got married anyway, and we were together 2 years, I guess, and then we just weren't together after that. And I was working 3 jobs at the time because, well, it was one way it was a way to meet people, number one, and try to figure out who I was, I guess. That's what I told myself. And one of those jobs was in a bar. I didn't really know what was going on at a bar because the alcohol that I had gotten my hands on in college came from other people. I didn't know what a bar was. And in my day job, which I worked as a secretary, it's just the easiest way to say it. And another girl worked in the same office, and she used to come to work like loaded down with cash, and I'm like, what are you doing? How are you making all that money? She's like, oh yeah, I'm working at a bar at night. I was like, are you serious? And you can make all that money? Like, yeah. Can you get me in there? Get me in for an interview. I still didn't really understand how to talk to people or carry myself, or I didn't know anything. I don't know what I was thinking, but so she got me an interview and I got a job. It was really cocktail waitressing. They probably don't have those anymore. I don't even know. But, and I had to learn fast. When I was in school, when it was mealtime, I wouldn't even go to the cafeteria because I was so wallflowery. I didn't want to stand there and look for a place to sit and look desperate. So I just didn't go. So this is me, that type of a character, throwing myself into a cocktail waitress situation. And the bar where I worked was really busy. And I just remember thinking, man, these people are just spending so much money on this stuff. It's insane. And the bartenders are making a lot more than I'm making. Wow, that's crazy. So one night, the bartender and his girlfriend, who he was working with, they got in a fight. And they both left. They threw everything on the floor and left. Literally. And so we're all standing around going, what are we going to do now? So out of everybody, I'm the one that decided to go behind the bar and start making drinks. I don't know. I'm just impulsive that way. There's a problem, I have to fix it. So then I was bartending instead of cocktail waitressing, and that was more money. And it was prestigious back in the day. I don't know what it's like now. And so that was a head trip for sure. And I just was, church and God that way, I'm going that way. That's the way I went. And I did that for years. And during that time of my life, drinking, working, I really was working 3 jobs. I'd also got my real estate license, and so that was a lot of work too on the weekends. So I'd work on Ant. Isn't that nice? I would work in the office from 8 to 5, and my cocktail or bartending shift started at 6. I worked till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And then on the weekends, I'd work real estate. I never sold anything. I just worked. It scared the heck out of me trying to sell someone a house. It's just too big for my mind to wrap itself around. I just couldn't do it. So, but I still worked the weekends nevertheless. And so during that time, so I drank a lot because that was one way to keep going. If you stop, you fall over. You're just exhausted. You just can't pull it off. That's what I thought anyway. So I had a lot of pain during that time, emotional pain, people, you know. And like I said, I mentioned this in one of my other videos where I had commented about making a testimony video. God knows everything. As I said, he made the 10 Commandments and his law for our protection. If I would have been paying attention and keeping his law, I wouldn't have had any of that pain. None of it. I thought the freedom that I wanted was freedom to do as I wanted. Do as thou wilt. That comes from down there. That doesn't come from up there. God gives us freedom to choose, but he wants us to choose him. If we all lived our lives according to this book, there wouldn't be any pain. There wouldn't be any pain. You put God and others before you, and you keep his commandments: no stealing, no lying, no coveting, honoring your parents. And the first table of the law is about honoring God. Man, I could write a book about how to spare yourself from pain and agony. And my book would be, see Exodus 20. because that's where the commandments are. So I'll keep it short. I just wanted to give you a glimpse of the early years, so to speak. And I wanted to tell you how good God is. At my house here, well, I'm trying to sell it so I can move to the country, but I've got a strawberry patch in the front yard, and the strawberries are amazing. God gave me those. They don't taste like the ones in the store. All the ones in the store are really pretty. They're all the same size and same color. They taste like plastic. All the birds are hatching out of their eggs, and the parents are feeding them. I saw a family of 5 leave its nest last weekend. I didn't get a video out last weekend, and another nest on this side of the house. The birds they haven't left the nest yet, so it's fun to watch them. But He's amazing. He knows what each of us need, no matter if it's one of those feathered creatures or one of us. Follow His plan. Put your plan aside. Our plans for this place is going to burn. He's coming soon, Jesus. This whole place is going to burn. Don't work for things on this place, on this planet. Work on your character. Your character is the only thing that you can take to heaven. Can't take anything else. Diamonds, cars, houses, boats, gold. There's gold up there. Streets are made of gold. You're not taking your gold. It's all going to burn. Figure it out before it's too late. I waited way too long. Way too long. But praise the Lord, my mother prayed for me every day. And I know that it was those prayers that brought me back. If you want to put your prayer, if you have a prayer request, put it in the box below. I'll pray for you. That's my family back there on that picture. She's passed away, but I pray for them twice a day. I'll add you to my list. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And He's coming back. Don't put it off. Get ready. I'll talk to you later.